In this episode, we are going to create our data model, and this is going to be central to our application. This is where we tell Prisma what our different types and relations are for everything that we're going to store and interact with amongst our API calls. So inside of our project directory, Daily Hunt API, we are going to use the Prisma init command, and we're going to give this a name of database, and this is going to be our project name. It will ask you a few things here, and one of the things that it'll ask is, where do you want to store the database? In this example, we are going to use the demo server. We'll then have to choose what region we wish our server to belong to, and in this case, with the lowest latency, we're going to choose EU1. This may be US1 to you, but choose one of your choice here. It's completely up to you. Then with that chosen, we're going to give a name for our service. I wouldn't call this database, although we named our project database. Let's call this, on the Prisma side, give it a real name. And in this example, I'm going to use Daily Hunt. Then we'll keep the stage dev. You can also deploy and create a production or a staging or any other types of stage for your database. And this is great if you're working in development and production and you want to deploy to multiple instances on Prisma. You can, so that's what that field is for, and we'll come to that later when we look to deploy this application. So what this will now do is it will create two files for you. It will create a prisma.yml and a datamodel.graphql. And these are the fundamental part of any Prisma API, and we'll be editing these files next to get started. So let's have a quick look at these files, and you will see if we just list our directory and we move into the database folder, because that's what we named our project, we have this file called datamodel.graphql, and this contains our types. And it gives us an example type of user here that has an ID that's unique and a string that is non-null. And if we have a look inside the prisma.yml file, we have an endpoint which is to the EU1 Prisma server, and also the file path to the data model.graphql that it also created. Inside of our data model, we're going to extend the example that it gave us for user. And here we're going to keep name, but we're also going to add bio. We're going to add an email, and this is a string that is non-null, and it's also unique. We're going to add a password field. That's also going to be a string that's required. And we're also going to specify the created at as a date time and the updated at timestamp to a date time type. Now this date time is a Scala type that's given to us by Prisma, and it's included for us, so we don't need to define that. Next, we're going to create a post type. And if you've used Product Hunt before, post is the thing that you view on any page. The post will have an ID that is unique, and the post will actually belong to a user in the form of a hunter. So someone that's hunted a post or published to Product Hunt is known as a hunter. And then we will need to define a relation here. We're going to give this a special name for now. This will make sense as we extend our models later. But we're also going to set made on the user type as well. And what this is doing is just declaring that a user can have many posts in the form of posts they've hunted, and also posts that they have made as well. So inside of user type, let's also now add the vote type, and that's going to be an array of votes, and also comments as well, and that will be an array of comments. Now let's continue and create the post type. First, we will set the URL. The URL is the address to the post, and that will be a unique string. Then we will give a name, which will also be a string, and that will be required. We'll also set a slug, which is required, non-null, and that will be unique. That will be used in the URL when we're visiting each individual post. And then we will also define a tagline, which is a string, and that is non-null. We'll also set a status of post status, and this will be an enum, and there will be two types of post status, available and coming. Then back inside of the post type, we'll continue by creating a short URL. This will be a string, and it will also be unique. This is what we will use when we click on a link to view a product. And because we want to set this up in a similar way to Product Hunt, where we would like to track clicks, we don't just want to make the URL available to everyone else. We kind of just want to mask that with a shorter URL so you can just click on it and it visits. Then we'll set a hunter, and that is a one-to-many relation. A user can have many hunted posts, but a post will only ever be hunted by one user. And of course, we'll need to set the relation and give it the same name as what we provided in the user type, which is user hunted. Then we will also have some makers, because there can be multiple makers. This will just be an array of user types. And again, we will define the relation there. So we will have the relation name of user made, which matches to the type user, and all of that will just work. Finally, we'll have an array of topics. We haven't defined topics, but we will do that now. So let's just define a type called topic. And a topic basically just has a name and a slug. And both of these are strings. Now, each topic can also have multiple posts. So we will introduce a page where you can browse by topic. So whether that is tech, games, developer tools, design tools, you want to see all of the posts that relate to that topic. And we do that by defining and declaring the posts relation. Now back inside of posts, we'll set some additional relations. The next one will be comments. We don't have a comment type, but we'll create that in just a sec. And also we will declare the vote type. Then we'll have some visits, and we'll track visits in a separate type, and we'll store those in the database. Finally, we'll finish by creating the created@datetime. Next, we'll create a type for comment, and comment will belong to a post, and it'll also belong to a user. A comment will also have a message, which is a string, and it'll have a created@datetime scatter type as well. Then we will have a type for vote. A vote will be related to a user, and it will also have an ID, and it'll relate to the post as well. Finally, we'll add the created@datetime type, and we'll create another type for the visit. The visit will have an ID that is unique. And finally, the visit will relate to a post, and we'll just for now, we'll record that created@datetime. So we pretty much have all of the types set up for our data model. And in a few moments when we deploy this, we will explore this on Prisma's graphical interface, and we'll begin to make some relations and connect some of this. So we'll see how all of this will work.